Cairoבין, Perik Beis, Mishnah Hay. The Ode Omer Rav Yehuda ben Bovo. In addition to the din which Rav Yehuda ben Bovo said in the previous Mishnah, that Ein Osin Pasin Elo Lebier Horabim Bilvad, that he restricts the kulas of Osin Pasin, of making a square round the well to where you've got a Bier Horabim. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bovo said a further din, that is, Hagino v'hakarfef shein shivim amo v'shirayim ar shivim amo v'shirayim mukefes goder gavoa asora tefochim metaltlin besocho. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bovo says that a gino and karfef, provided it has the dimensions of 70 amo v'shirayim, that's 70 amos and 2/3 of an amo by 70 and 2/3 of an amo, and it has a proper mechitza around it of Sora Tefochim, one can be metaltel besocho, but unlike we learnt in Mishnah Gimel, where there we said that if it has the dimensions of Beis Sosayim, which is 5,000 square amos, which is the same as Shivim Amo V'Shirayim or Shiva Amo V'Shirayim, without any qualifications, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bovo says, yes, you may carry, but there must be an element of diro to serve a person, and that is a requirement before we would allow you to be metaltel in this gino or karpef, in this garden or enclosure. It doesn't have to be proper diro, but at least there must be an element of diro, as the Mishnah says, ubilvad shehebo shomero, provided there is shomero, that is, there is a hut which could be used for a caretaker or a watchman, o beis diro, or there is a place of diro, o shetei semucho la'ir, or it is close to the city and therefore it will be used by people to live in. What exactly, how would you find tei smucho le'ir? There is a difference of opinion whether it means within 70 amos of the city, or possibly within the tchum of the city, 2,000 amos of the city. But nonetheless, according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Bovo, there has to be an element of diras odom before we can allow you to carry in the enclosed area, even though the enclosed area is less than Beis Sosayim. Of course, if it's more than Beis Sosayim, then we would certainly allow it if, in fact, it is a proper mokum diro. If it's not mukefes, it's not a gino, not a karfef, if it's a proper mokum diro, then you can have an enclosure even more than Beis Sosayim. Then we have another opinion. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, even a lesser form of diro would be allowable. Afilu engbo elo ber v'shiach u'ma'ora, even though a person is not living in it, but nonetheless there is a bar, a cistern, a shiach, some sort of trench, a ma'ora, or a cave, which services bnei Adam, and therefore that also could be considered a form of diro. Metaltlin besocho, then you could be metaltlin besocho. You could carry in this enclosed area, even though it's only a gino and a karfef. Rabbi Akiva Omer, however, Rabbi Akiva says, afilu ein bo achas mikol elu metaltlin besocho. You do not need any element of dira at all if it is an enclosed area less than Beis Sosayim, that is, less than the area of Beis Sosayim. There is no requirement to have any dira at all. And it carries on, Bilvad shehebo shivim amo v'shirayim al shivim amo v'shirayim, provided that it doesn't exceed 70 amos and 2/3 of an amo by 70 amos and 2/3 of an amo. At first glance, Rabbi Akiva would seem to be saying exactly the same as we learnt in Mishnah Gimel, whereas we said in Mishnah Gimel that lo omru Beis Sosayim elo legino or lekarfef, that the the restriction of Beis Hasayim is only for a gino of a karfev, but there was no requirement of having any diro element in the gino of a karfev. So the Gemara explains there is a marginal difference between the two. According to the previous Mishnah, we round up, so to speak, that you don't. It's not just 70 amos and 2/3 of an amo by 70 2/3 of an amo. It is in fact a full Beis Hasayim, a larger area which can be utilized to carry if it's even 5,000 amos. Whereas according to Rabbi Akiva, it's 70. It takes it literally 70 2/3 times 70 2/3, which in total is 4,993 7/9 square amos. So there is a marginal difference. We paskin like we paskin like Rabbi Akiva, but not in this little aspect here that we give the extra Beis Hasayim, the full Beis Hasayim, for a gino and karfev. Then we get a further opinion, and a further two opinions in the Mishnah. Rab Lezer Omer im hoyo orko yese al rochbo afilu ama achas ein metaltalin besocho. If the length is greater than the width, even by 1 amma, then you can't be metaltal besocho. So it's got to be actually square. That would be the Porsche Pshat in the Mishnah. However, the Gemara brings a Brisa, and in the Brisa, the Gemara says, has a different nusach. Rab Lezer Omer, im hoyo orko yese al pishnayim berochbo, afilu ama achas ein metaltlin besocho. So Rab Lezer allows even a rectangular shape. Doesn't have to be square. Even up to as long as the orach is not twice the size of the width. The Gemara further qualifies it and says that this refers to not actually the orach, it refers to the diagonal. Otherwise we'll have Rabbi Lezer exactly the same as the next Tana, Rabbi Yosei, as we'll learn in a moment. Rabbi Yosei Omer, afilu orko pi shnayim berochbo metaltalin besocho. You can have an area of Beis Hasayim of 5,000 square amos, and it doesn't have to be 70 by 70. It doesn't have to be an exact square. You can have the length, lengthwise, it can be twice the width, and that would be perfectly acceptable. So you'd have, let's say, 100 times 50 amos, and which makes a square of 5,000 amos. And even though it's not a square, the orach is twice the length of the rochboy, then it's acceptable for carrying in the area of either a gino or a karfev. But anything above that area, then the mechitza won't help with the gino and karfev. You still can't carry besoichem.